Hi everyone, Mr. K here. We're going to switch gears a little bit and we're going to do some Java tutorials. I'm using Eclipse, and what we're going to do today is declare some variables and print them out. Some of you in class may have a little bit of trouble with it, understandably, because this is your first real difficult program. The Hello World was, that was easy. This is where we get into the good stuff. So what I'm going to do here is walk you through it and hopefully clear things up a bit. So create a new Java project. I'm calling mine, oops, can't type today, declaring variables. Don't need to worry about anything else. And apparently I gotta reset my perspective here. Okay. There we go. Whoops. I'm not used to this yet. Anyway, so I have my project here and I need to make a new class. I know I didn't give anyone really a good explanation of what classes are, but they don't really become evident until you make larger programs. They're really mainly useful for keeping things organized. So if you happen to be doing something like, I don't know, I'll use a video game because I know that you might want to keep the menu system in its own class and the movement system in its own class and the physics in its own class. There's really no, well, there's a benefit to it, but there's no reason why you can't put everything all into one class. It just makes it a little bit more manageable if you split it up. But we're doing simple stuff, so everything goes in one class. Keep in mind, camel case, so no spaces. For classes, capitalize the first one. Make sure you declare your public static void main, your main method. It'll get a little bit of work done for you, and we are ready to go. So, keep in mind, main method, alright, you will end up making multiple methods, but we're going to stick with just the main one because that's the one that is first run. So, our main method, what we want to do first is just declare a variable. So, what we need to first do is figure out what the variable is and what type of variable it's going to be. So, I'm going to do hour. So, let's say the current hour, as I'm recording this, it's 10, okay? So 10 is an integer, so what I can do is use, in fact, all hours are integers. So I'm going to use int, and I'm going to call it hour. That's it. I've declared a variable. Okay, simple as that. It comes down to figuring out what type of variable it is and what you want to call it. Okay, so if I wanted to put a variable for, say, AM or PM, I would call it a string because it doesn't contain any numbers, it contains letters. So I don't even know what to call it. We'll just call it AM, PM, ampum, whatever. And you can speed things up a little bit, so if you have multiple ones to declare, so say for instance I needed to do hour and minute, I'm actually going to go back up. I can use a comma and declare multiple integer variables at the same time. So int hour minute, that gives me two variables, one for the hour, one for the minute. They're both integers. Okay? So now that we declared them, we actually have to assign variables, or I should say values, to those variables. So my hour, my current hour as I'm recording this, is 10. My current minute is 20. And because I'm paranoid about keeping things lined up, not paranoid, it just makes it nice to read, line up my equal signs, so there's my hour and my minute. String for the AM PM, it's going to be a little bit different. So AM PM, because it's a string, I need to wrap it in, it's currently AM, oops, I need to wrap it in double quotation marks because they need to know what actually is a character and what isn't. You see this semicolon at the end here? Right now it's telling me that, telling Java that the line is done and over. But if I wanted to use a semicolon in my string, which you're allowed to do, the double quotes are there to kind of help it along and say, listen, this stuff in here is a string. Now, as I'm talking about this, I'm realizing I completely forgot how to put double quotes inside a string. I'm sure there's a way to do it. It's probably using some kind of fancy code, but for the moment, I don't have an answer for that. If I remember, I'll put it in the annotations because I didn't look it up. But anyway, the double quotes are there to kind of encapsulate what is actually part of the string and what isn't. Okay? Alright, so now that we've assigned values to all of our variables, let's print them out. System.out.println. A little lag there. Now this part's pretty straightforward. It's the same print line statement that we used for the hello world. We're just going to, instead of putting in what we want to print out, we're going to put in the variables. So we're going to do our, and I'm going to cheat here. Oops. And put in my 3 variables just like that. So now if I run it, run as an application, I should get 10:20 a.m. There you go. So there is declaring variables, assigning them values, and then printing them back out. Now if you want to get even fancier, system.out.println. And it has been a while since I did this. I'm actually going to try to do this off the top of my head. I'm going to do our. I forget if it's commas. I'm going to screw this up. I know I am. Because I didn't look this up beforehand. Because I'm trying to do things. Space. And then AM, PM. And I hope this works. Because if it doesn't, I'm going to look foolish. Oh, errors exist. Crud. Maybe it's a plus sign. I think it's a plus sign. The problem with knowing too many different languages is that some things do things differently and others do it a different way. So I'll put plus signs, spaces in there, and maybe this will work. If this doesn't work, I quit. Ah, there we go. Got it. It's plus signs, not commas. Sorry. So there we go. 10:20 a.m. So there is basically declaring and printing variables in a nutshell. So the declaration, the assigning of a value, printing out one variable at a time, and then printing out a slew of them at a time. Hopefully that clears things up, and